How's it going? Welcome back. This is Jonathan, and in this video I'm actually going to take a step back and go through a lesson that we learned, I think it was about maybe 2 weeks ago now, where we're looking at the Bitcoin cycle. So what I have on the chart right now is I have the 90-day Bitcoin cycle, and this is the cycle that we were watching to see when Bitcoin may potentially move into a low this season. So let's go ahead and flick up the chart right now. As you can see, I'm in my kitchen at the moment, back in quarantine lockdown, so not the best view in the background, but it is what it is. But let's go ahead and switch over now and take a look. So as you can see on the chart here, what we have, if you didn't already manage to get a glimpse of the last video, go back and get a refresh on that at least. Because what I have here is I have a bunch of boxes. Now, if you cannot remember, there was one thing that I was watching for, and that was either a right or a left translation for the Bitcoin price. So if you've forgotten what that is, pretty much we had a starting point and we had a potential ending point and we had a midpoint. So the starting point, we had an ending point, and we had a midpoint. Now that represents these sections right here. And then we had an orb period, and that orb period is a potential of, is a period of time before and after the actual date where we can see potential for the market lows to occur within those periods. Sometimes it stretches a little bit before it or after that orb period. For example, here the low that was expected in this orb period here actually came maybe just 3 or 4 days before it. But with that said, what we're looking for in this instance was either a left or right translation for this cyclical low that is potentially going to occur in the August month. Now, what is a left translation? What is a right translation? Pretty much we have this midpoint here, and we want to know which side is the high on. So if the market moves up and then it comes down and it crosses the midpoint with the high on the left-hand side, that's a left translation top. And that gives us an indication that the market may fall lower. It might not be, well, I shouldn't say it might not be, it's not guaranteed to be below the low that occurred on the left-hand side, but the probability is high. But that gives us at least potential for a lower low, at least temporarily, maybe a day or maybe a tick through the day, than the low that occurred before, which is this low over here. And then we had a right translation. That just means that the top of the market for that period was on the right-hand side of the midpoint. And then that gave us indication of the probability where the market may find actually a higher low before potentially moving up or down from there on. So what we have here is I've drawn it in here. We have the market forming a low, forming its current top, and then sort of moving down past this midpoint, and then potentially going down lower. Now, whenever you draw lines on the chart, you draw a straight line because that gives you an overall direction, and then you draw minor cycles. But as you can see, I could really just draw it like this, but the actual market movement, might be like this. So me just drawing these lines is just hypothetical to give you an idea on direction, but doesn't actually guarantee that that's what's going to be. I'm just hypothesizing with you, okay? So with the market rallying after the 20th of July, we could be seeing another top form anytime, potentially at the end of this month, or it may come maybe within the first several days of August, before another final push lower. Now this is not guaranteed. This may be the actual low before the market rallies off into infinity. I don't know just yet. But if I was to use this theory here, which I've been using, let me get rid of this, and taking a look at all the cycles going back several years, it gives us a good indication of where a low might occur. For example, if we take this top here, let me just draw it in. We take this one here, we have our midpoint here. So the market's moved up into the midpoint. We got our top here, and then the market's rolled over into the next orb period. So this was the 90-day period, and that was the low here. So you sort of see how that plays out. It's not exactly textbook, so to speak, but it gives us a good indication of what we should be expecting. So let's go ahead and clear the screen. So that's just where it's at now. So Bitcoin is starting to rally higher. I think the probability still suggests that we could get another push lower, at least over the next several days. I was expecting a top in the market either on the 25th to 26th, at least just a temporary top. But it doesn't look like that might occur, at least it doesn't look like that it's going to occur at the moment. We have to wait and see because the market is currently pushing higher. But each time that the market pushes through these time counts, it's actually bullish. So when it pushes down through a time count, it's extremely bearish, and when it pushes up through a time count, it's extremely bullish. I do like to see the market turn on these counts because it gives us an idea that the vibration is still, forming its high-low pattern. But pushing through it, that's totally okay. We just got to keep on the lookout for the next one, okay? So I just wanted to touch on with that. Let's go ahead and take a look at the daily chart. Go back several charts. This is a low that we were watching, and I said numerous times that I doubt that the market's going to fall below this. What we have now is first of all, we had a double bottom, and now using this data by Crypto Watch, whether it's accurate or inaccurate, and we've now got a triple bottom formation. So that is bullish. Now, what WD Gann, and I'm sure a lot of other analysts before his time, but I just haven't studied their content, said was that obviously double bottoms are strong, triple bottoms are strong, but when the market comes down for the fourth time, there's a very, very, very high chance that the market's going to fall through it. And WD Gann would actually say you should short the market at that specific time. So if the market does come down into the August period to form the next low, I wouldn't be shorting it, only because we are expecting a low around August. So we've got to put everything together that we have, that we're analyzing. But the market could at least push down below that low, maybe for several days or even half a day before moving up again. But that point here is extremely important, and we should be watching for a potential fourth bottom, which will actually break this triple bottom here. So another thing to be watching on there. Let's go ahead and switch over to the weekly. Now I'm just going to focus this video on Bitcoin just today. I haven't actually been putting out a lot of videos, so thought why not get one out. The weekly, we currently have somewhat of a bullish signal here, with the market creating a double bottom. Let me just see if these numbers are correct. So we have a low of 29,247, 29,313. So yeah, technically speaking, this is a bullish signal on a weekly chart, and it would give probability to continuing rises in prices from here. Whether that rising prices last for a day or several weeks to months is yet to be seen, but that's a bullish signal. The monthly, we never crossed this 50% point which we were watching. Well, I shouldn't say we never crossed it, we never closed below it. So that's good, something we were definitely watching there. The Gann swing chart has also pointed to a bullish buy signal. So that's now turned bull with it crossing above here. It's now a bullish buy signal. And we've taken out from a price perspective. So this is a price over balance. So if you don't understand time and price over balance, that's something for you to study. From price over balance, we're now pointing bullish. Let's go ahead. The Kagi chart has turned green on both the daily and the weekly. Bullish. Price-wise, we never cracked the bottom field here, which is good. This was an area of price where we had signaled for resistance in the market. A lot of people were looking down to the 24 and the $20,000 range. I never drew that low with these boxes here because I didn't think that it would get there, but it's always good to hypothesize what could happen. We do have strong resistance right here on this line here, and if the market can push up, the next resistance looks like it might be around the 43 to 45,000 points, and then up into the 48,000 mark. Let's go over, see if there's any patterns. Nothing there that I've drawn, at least. Elliott wave, we could be in potentially a fifth Elliott wave now. What's going on with that chart? Must have a log chart on. We could potentially be in a fifth wave here. We had price and time for Elliott wave converge. So we had a 25% Elliott wave time perspective. So we're going out in time, 25% hit, which is why I originally drew the low potentially around here, around the 61.8%. So if we are done with that move, we could be heading up to between 57, 75% and 100% of the last move, which will take us between 72,000 and 88,000 if we're in a 5-wave Elliott run here. Now everyone's going to give you different forms of analysis. Everyone's going to look at this differently. This is just what I've done and what I've looked at. You follow whoever you want, you do your own research. I'm just giving you pointers on what you should be looking for at least. And I think that is it. The only one that I wanted to look at was the seasonality. So we're still in the month of July. There is weakness. It's not negative, but it's just not as strong as, say, for example, April or November. August is typically a weak month, and then September is the weakest month out of the seasonality of this Bitcoin USD chart. And this is the monthly performance from 2011 to 2021. So it's around, I'd say 10 years of data now. This is another reason why I think that there could be a potential final low before the next rally. So August and September are typically bearish months over the last 10 years. So we need to take into consideration everything from price to cycles to seasonality and sort of build our own picture, so to speak. So that's the final thing that I wanted to talk about. With that said, that's really all I have for you. As you can see, this whole death cross thing that everyone was talking about, which was the major news, and I just said was going to be huff and puff. The market never pushed through the final low, which everyone said was the end of Bitcoin, we're going down. The market hit that low multiple times. I went through it. I took a look at all of the data regarding this death cross and I analyzed it all. And I said, it's bullshit. So just be wary of who you follow and don't just follow people for the sake of following. If they got lots of subscribers, it doesn't mean they're always going to be right. I'm not always going to be right. But the best thing you can do is take a look at what they're actually telling you and build your own hypothesis. And I built my own hypothesis on this whole death cross thing, which everyone said was going to end the world for Bitcoin. And I just said no. There's a very, very low chance that that's actually going to end Bitcoin. And there were certain things I was focusing on, which these other guys didn't focus on. And now with hindsight to our advantage, we can definitely see who's right and wrong in these videos. So that's pretty much all I have. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a thumbs up. And if you want to stick around, hit the subscribe button. Talk to you again.